Hello everyone, welcome to the Sky. Today we are having a very special guest, a man with $1 million voice, Mr. Shamsi. Welcome on board, my man.
Thank you. Thanks, Benny. That's a very nice introduction.
Yeah,
Glad to be here.
yeah, thanks. For everyone who doesn't know you, could you say a word or two maybe about yourself? Who are you? We don't need an address, but some kind of your history.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Shamsi. I am a 22-year-old crypto investor, trader, enthusiast, whatever you want to call it. I have been in the market since 2017, but I have been actively trading since early 2020. I basically day trade crypto on leverage or spot. I am heavily involved in NFTs. Um, I have a news broadcast with Neo Tokyo, and I'm the voice of that, and a couple of other projects on the media side. I have a YouTube channel. I've done some technical analysis for Sky. Apart from that, I basically do investing. I do a lot of advisory, some advisory for a hedge fund locally in South Africa, about $1.3 billion in assets. And yeah, just general advisory. But yeah, I'm a learner of the markets for the most part. I'm just trying to improve my trading, trying to become more consistent, and yeah, grow with people like Benny. So that's what I do.
So Shamsi, wait a minute. So I have heard something about $1.3 billion. Am I hearing it right? You are advising some kind of investment fund with so much money. So can you tell us a word or two about that?
Yeah. So I mean, just by the way, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Everything that I say is for entertainment or educational
Yeah.
purposes only.
Nobody in
But
crypto is.
yeah, but locally in South Africa, there I have some connections where I was reached out by a wealth manager who manages, well, him and his team, they manage about $1.3 billion in asset management in assets. So they manage on behalf of companies like 91 and Allen Gray and companies like that. So I mean, he basically wanted some advice on what to invest and what to do in crypto, and then we started talking about traditional assets. So, yeah, I do random advisory here and there for that asset management fund. The last time I spoke to them, I told them to buy wheat futures, I think, and then 3 days later, wheat futures were up 40%. So hopefully they made some money on that. But yeah, I mean, I have some connections in the commodities market, the heavy metals market, the fuels market. So I get all the knowledge from those industries and then pool them into my trading and then advise people whenever need be. So yeah, I mean, I'm not officially on their team, but every time they reach out, I give them a breakdown of my analysis and where they can invest and what they can do. So yeah, I do a bit of advisory for an asset management fund.
That's really crazy. That's really crazy. You are all around. But how old are you for? I mean, you have so much experience. You are connected with so many high profile guys, and you are still, I would say, a young guy, if I may say.
Yeah, yeah, I'm 22, but I mean, age doesn't really matter if
Of
when you
course.
just sit down and focus on something and you push full speed. It's crazy how much progress you can make in 3 months and 2 months and 5 months. I only really started doing crypto full time about 7 to 8 months ago. So 90% of the progress that you see me speak about now was achieved in the last 6 to 7 months. So I mean, yeah, if you really want this and you really put your head down and work towards it, then you can get to much higher levels than I can.
Yeah, that's really that's so much. How to say push forward for every of our listeners. If you're listening this 1 hour, 2 hours, you're gonna stay average Joe for your lifetime. But if you want to do something, do it full time. Do it full time at least for a couple of months, and then you're gonna know is this for you or not. Don't do it 5 years, 2 hours a day. Rather do it
Yeah.
6 months, 15 hours a day, and then you are a millionaire or you are running down with your usual business. So.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, you go back to where you started, and best case, you never have to look back again. And I mean, if anything, Benny's the one person who knows about consistently pushing forward with something because he's been. I remember before Sky even started, we were speaking about how we're gonna turn this into a newsletter or an investment front or something. And you've been going full speed since day one. So fair play to you. So if anything, you know a lot about staying consistent and pushing forward.
Yeah, thanks, man. Nice to hear. As said, market sentiment is pretty much down, and you need to really to act fast. Sometimes it's really time to develop new things. Sometimes it's a time to do much content, media part of the company, and you just need to stay on the ball. And investments also is a separate field for itself. And right now we are moving also to, let's say, step towards market analytics. We are talking about investments. It's really hard to decide when to put your money inside, when to take it out. We are seeing now this small bull market, we can say from 70.5k to 22, 24k, and everyone is getting excited. But everything else around it, stocks, gold, everything is crashing. And I believe we have not too much reason to stay too bullish right now. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And we were speaking about this earlier as well. Every single thing globally is down. I mean, even I think yesterday I saw a video from the WHO speaking about how monkeypox is going to be a global health, crisis, perhaps. So with everything happening on that front, everything happening, with the Ukraine war, which is kind of still going, and Russia and all that, U.S. markets, high inflation. The Fed trying to tighten and reduce the dollar supply. The dollar is sort of soaring in the sky right now. Euro against the dollar is down. You mentioned that interest rates are going to go up in Europe very, very soon. So I mean, globally, financially, things don't look very good. And even if you watch prominent advisors or YouTubers on YouTube like Elliot Trades, he mentioned that there's a high likelihood that the US is going to have another quarter of negative growth. And then, they're going to announce that the U.S. is in a recession. But funny enough, today in one of the discords that I'm in, I found out that the White House is working on changing the definition of what a recession is, or if they have changed it already. If that's the case, then they're clearly trying to dodge telling the public that they're in a recession. But to me, the US and the global markets are currently in a recession because, GDP growth globally is down. And just because we have this tiny little relief rally in bear markets, it's notorious. These little rallies in the bear markets are known to grab people's liquidity. And there's a reason why Apple has stopped hiring people. There's a reason why Microsoft has cut down how many people they're hiring. I don't think they're expecting a lot of growth going forward in the near future, at least, or until we see some sort of support from the U.S. Fed. So until then, any rally that I see for me is just exit liquidity. Things that I bought, a little high up, I can maybe sell them at break even, or things that I bought low, I can sell them at a profit. So that's how I'm looking at it. I'm not really trusting these rallies. That's why I told you I'm not trading these ranges quite a lot. And I even tweeted yesterday that I don't really trust these little rallies. I'm gonna look for shorts as we go higher, if we go higher. That's what I'm trading. It's a game of probabilities, and for me, the probability of us going down is a lot higher than us going up, given the global situation.
That's it. That's the right sentence. It's all about possibilities. And you can see Bitcoin is 3x down from its all-time high. So buying right now, you have too much risk of going down than winning if it comes again to 69k. So, but on 15k, if everything dips, if Bitcoin breaks the 70.5k and goes down, we're gonna see some generational opportunities and prices. You see, for example, Ethereum is 1.5k. If Bitcoin loses this 70.5k zone, Ethereum is gonna go on $700, $800. DOT is gonna be on $2, Cardano on 20 cents. And if you buy with $1,000, you can make in 3 years maybe 30,000, 30x, 40x. And that's where the people need to be excited. Even though you lost some money, stay in the game, learn every day. And it's not about investing much, it's about investing smart. And it's about fighting yourself. You are your worst enemies and your emotions. If you beat your emotions, you're gonna make it. That's it. That's really...
Yeah, 100%. It's you versus the market. And the one thing that people also don't understand is that the market is not your friend. Anytime I lose money, I think of it as okay, I just lost $100, but someone on the other side just won $100, or they just scored my $100. So my money is technically going to someone else's pocket. So in order for you to win in this market, someone else has to lose. That's just pure demand and supply. So you have to think of it as, how can I master my emotions and outsmart everybody else in the market so that I can have a competitive edge? So yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So Shamsi, what are your thoughts how this whole thing, global happenings are affecting crypto and will affect crypto? We're seeing on one side inflation, then we are seeing COVID, some crazy diseases coming already, Ukraine war. What's really happening and how can we prepare us for the next bull run or bear market? What is going to be happening in crypto? That's the thing that we want to know. Can you help us?
Yeah, I mean, I can I can try. I wish I knew what was going to happen in the markets, but again, it's a game of probabilities, and you got to assess what's happening globally and apply that to our markets. So, I mean, firstly, I'm pretty sure everybody can agree that we are in a bear market right now. And if you look at historically how bear markets behave, the next bull, the proper bull, only comes only comes when we have the next Bitcoin mining halving, which, according to my understanding, is in 2024.
Yeah.
So that is why I've been putting a timeline on the next bull run, or at least my next exit from the bull run around December 2024 to about Feb 2025. That's when I think the next big run up is going to be, where we're going to see those 100, 200,000 X's. But for now, the global markets are, well, crypto is sort of like any other market in terms of how it behaves to global news and global affairs, perhaps a little bit more volatile because it's not as mature of a market. We're, less than a 20-year track record of trading in these markets. So I mean, with high inflation, we saw prices going up because more dollars were being printed, which is what caused high inflation. After that, we saw some tightening from the Fed, which means prices are now coming down, and the Fed is still trying to tighten the economies as much as possible to fight inflation. Now, the problem with that is if you tighten and if you increase interest rates like they're doing in Europe and you decrease the dollar supply from the economy, you are basically taking money away from people's pockets because they have less dollars to buy, they have less disposable income. And if people have little disposable income, then they don't have enough money to invest in risky assets like Bitcoin. So automatically, we're going to see a bit of a bearish run to the downside when we see financial institutions trying to tighten the supply of currency, any currency that is. So for that reason, I think that for the next 3-4 months at least, we're going to see another leg down for Bitcoin and the crypto markets in general, because again, global news isn't looking great. I mean, Tesla had to sell their Bitcoin to show a positive earnings report, or at least an improved earnings report. If they didn't do that, they probably would have been in the negative. So that gives you an indication of where the economies are heading, what people's buying and purchasing power is right now. I don't think people are spending a lot on luxury. That is people, the masses, not people in the 1%, but people in general are spending more on necessities. And with a lower disposable income, I don't think anybody's going to want to put 20 or 10 or 5% of their income in an asset that can still go down 50%. So I think that unless or until we see a pivot from the Fed saying that, okay, the economies are really down now and we need a turn, I don't think crypto is going to go up. Or even if it does, it's going to be one of these relief rallies where, to be honest, this relief rally to me only happened because the dollar saw a little bit of a resistance at, I think, it was around 108 or 109, if I believe. We can check the chart soon, but I think it was because of a pullback in the dollar. And I think we're going to continue downwards very soon. Even if you look at this week is sort of pivotal, I think, because last week we saw Tesla and Snapchat have their earnings. I believe this week is Meta, which is Facebook and WhatsApp in them. And then we have Apple, we have Google, we have Amazon. Now, if these earnings aren't up to par with what people are expecting, markets are going to tank 100%. And again, Apple has stopped hiring people. So the biggest company in the world has stopped hiring people. That is an indication of where the global markets are headed. They're not in an expansionary phase. They're in a contractionary phase. So if that is foreshadowing as to what we can expect in the earnings market, sorry, in the earnings of these companies, then
Hmm.
I think there's another leg down coming around Thursday to Friday this week, which is when Apple and Amazon release their earnings. So, but yeah, with COVID and all those things, we've seen how those impact the markets. People usually trade on fear, so even the slightest bit of fear can push the market down. But if there's excessive fear in the market, like there was when we were at 17K, literally everybody was saying, okay, we're at 17K, we're definitely going down to 10K or 5K. But that's not usually how markets work. Markets work in oscillations. So right now we're on the upper leg of an oscillation, so we have to go down now. This relief rally that we're in right now hasn't really seen too much of a pullback, especially in Ethereum. So I think we're now finally starting to consolidate sideways, and we're going to break to the downside later in the week if earnings of these largest companies in the world aren't necessarily up to par with what we expect. So that's where I think crypto market is headed. And we can look at the charts to back up some of my analysis in a minute.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm gonna say 2 3 sentences, and you can prepare your charts. Uh, for you can see this as a two sides of a coin. One side, oh my God, everything is going down. I'm screwed. My money is going down. And the second guy on the second side of a coin saying, my God, I'm gonna buy Ethereum on $400. I'm gonna buy DOT on $2. I'm gonna buy all of these layer ones, blockchains, protocols, Ethereum, maybe some Bitcoin also. I'm not a big fan of a Bitcoin. I know it's not so volatile, but I'm seeing I'm afraid that Ethereum might take over in next cycle, but we'll see. It's just an idea.
Yeah,
And
I believe it.
yeah, and if you really buy, you take $5,000, $2,000, $200, you're gonna make around 50x in a couple of years. You don't need to be the smartest guy. You don't need to be a trader. You just need to take control over your feelings and just invest when nothing is happening. When nobody is talking about crypto, here on Sky, we will always be speaking about crypto, that's for sure. And everything is quiet out there. All the projects and prices are down. Just buy a little bit, $200-$300 per month, or how much you can, thousands. It's not important, couple of dollars, and leave it there 2-3 years. Just wait until next bull run, until Bitcoin breaks the 70K, Ethereum breaks this 4.5K, and that's the time where you're gonna be saying, oh my God, thank you to myself for being such a crazy guy before 2 years and buying on those prices when nobody was buying. That's the game, not trading. Traders, only 2 traders from 100 of them are really in profit. And Shamsi is a professional. He can say a word or two about that. It's really, they're just showing themselves off on Twitter and everywhere. Don't believe everything, really. But let's go to Shamsi's charts, now, and he can say a word or two about it.
It's really easy to fake trading gains, and it's quite hard. I mean, I'll be transparent. In the last 2 weeks, I haven't had the most profitable weeks, so that is why I'm also refraining from trading, sort of hitting a reset button because but losses are part of trading. So
Yeah.
I look at losses as overhead costs, and in any business, some businesses have a 40%, 30% overhead cost. As a trader, you have to understand what sort of overheads you have in your trading business, and those come in the form of losses, and you have to treat them like a business expense, and work with it that way. But yeah, we can look at some charts now. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me just open this. All right, so here we have the Bitcoin chart. And what I'm seeing here is basically we broke out of this range over here from about 18,000 to about 22,000. And we are currently testing the range highs of this range as support. Now, if we can establish support, then we can, move on upwards again, which I think at this point is unlikely, because if we were to move up, we should have moved up on this move or on the initial bounce, because we're now coming for the second bounce. So it's a second retest, and we've already had retests over here of this space. So the more we hit this now support, the weaker it gets, to my understanding. So if we can hold above this on the 4-hour, 6-hourly and sort of see some volume, I would probably look for longs. I'm personally not longing, but that would be a decent area to long all the way upwards to the range high of 24,200. Although I don't think BTC has enough steam in it to move up that way. Conversely, if we start closing below this 21,800 area, which is sort of the top of the previous range, and we break down, go for a retest, and then on that retest, I'm gonna short, because then there's a lot more likelihood of us going all the way down to about 19K or 18K. Invalidation would be somewhere around 22,000 if we go down and then come back up and we don't hold this as resistance again. So that's where I'm looking at. I'm not personally in a trade right now, but if I were, I would look for a 4-hourly or 6-hourly closure, preferably above 22,000, and then maybe look for a small scalp upwards. But that's all it is. It's a scalp. It's not really a swing trade for me. I'm still looking at this macro bearish consolidation area, and to me it's just nothing but a bearish zone. A bit of a relief rally in the bear market doesn't make me bullish in the long term, especially given what's happening in the global markets. So now, another thing, if we now break this as support, then this little thing was just a deviation above the range highs, and we're going to come all the way back down to test about 18.5K. So that would be a very lucrative short. Even if you've lost money like me a little bit in this area, because it was very choppy and it was quite hard for me to trade this because I was in full bear mode. I'll be honest, I was a bit biased as well, but I'm not biased anymore. It's all about invalidations, and you got to set your conditions. It's a very nice, 12 to 15% trade that you can take over time, which will yield some very nice profits. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at with Bitcoin, and how do I back that up? So the reason why I think we may see a little bit of a relief rally from Bitcoin today is because the Dixie for me needs to come down to this 105 level before bouncing up again, which I think it is going to bounce at least now for the next 2 to 3 months. So this area was previous resistance. We got rejected quite a lot of times, and now we haven't tested it for support. So I think Dixie's going to come down here, test it for support. If we break down, we possibly see a move upwards from Bitcoin, but highly unlikely in my opinion. When we're going to bounce from over here, Dixie's going to gain strength again, and Bitcoin's going to go down. The S&P, I think, is eventually going to test this 3890 level, or the 3900 level, whichever way you see it, and break down below it, because again, to me, this is just another, if you look at it from the standpoint of a macro level, this to me is just another. So you have a high here, you have a lower high here, and you have another lower low here. You have a lower high here and a lower lower here, perhaps a lower high here, and then another lower low coming all the way down, bringing us further down, with the dollar index going up and Bitcoin going down as well. So that's what I'm looking at. Otherwise, Matic is a short that you could have taken. My entry was about at $1. It didn't hit on Bybit, so I'm out of the trade. I'm not trading it. But if you are short, then I would look to take profit somewhere around the 0.7 to 0.68 level, because this is where we saw a lot of consolidation. There's a lot of volume nodes around this area. After that, the previous resistance of the range high, which hasn't been tested when we broke upwards. Likewise, okay, this actually was tested, but this area hasn't really been tested for support, so I would perhaps take some profit at the 5.8 or the 6.0 level as well on Matic, before we tumble back down to Lord knows how deep in the market. After that, we have FTM. I haven't been trading FTM right now, but if we start closing below this level, which was previous resistance here, we sort of bounced off support here. But if we start closing here and go for a retest, I would probably short the retest, and that would bring us all the way down to about 232. This is a 22 to 23% short if you take it from this range at 0.3, so that's a very lucrative short. Apart from that, markets don't really look amazing. I'm not looking for any longs right now personally, but if you want a long, I would suggest you wait for some sort of a push upwards, although you have to be very wary of these lower highs forming over here and the lower lows forming over here. Some people may say that this is a bull flag. I don't think this is a bull flag, but if it is, then we got to bounce now. We got to bounce somewhere around here, because my invalidation zone for a long is down here. If we don't bounce on this horizontal level, which is a pretty big level, it's a pretty big volume node, then I don't think we're in for a longs. Plus, given the Apple, Amazon, Google earnings report coming around this week, I don't know if I would want to be in I would hate to be stuck in a long trade when the market is going, 10-15% down, and who knows how much lower the market is going to go. So that's my little bit of analysis on the charts. Bitcoin, Ethereum. Let's look at Ethereum also. Ethereum was in a quite a rip lately. So technically, Ethereum is a little bit more bullish than Bitcoin because we have a high, higher high, another higher high. Then we have a high, a higher low, another higher low. So technically, this is more of a bull flag than anything. But again, if Ethereum doesn't break out now from this 1523 level, because we're at the bottom of this of the range, then expect it to come down to about my initial target is 1259, because that is the top of the previous range, and then after that we're range bound again, and we don't know how low it's going to go. So that's my little bit of analysis on the markets, and yeah, that's the charts.
Completely.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But basically, right now we are, sort of in a region where we are currently sitting at the range highs of our previous range between 17K and 22K basically. So if we, start closing 4-hourly or 6-hourly candles below about 21,600, I might flip bearish and start looking for shorts all the way down to 18K. Otherwise, if we hold this 22,000 level, then I'm looking for longs to about 22,500 to 23,000 area. So that's where basically we're at. The dollar is looking for a pullback to about 105, which is going to push the market upwards. Pre-markets on S&P and NASDAQ and Dow Jones are up right now, so we can expect, some sort of a price action upwards over there. So, I mean, for now, I'm looking at, a short-term scalp of about 2 to 3% on Bitcoin from the 22,000 area. If we start closing below 22,000, then I would look for shorts again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Shamsi, with all of these things being said about the market charts and everything, can you maybe answer us some catchy question? What are your craziest trades? What are the craziest things that you have been doing in trading in crypto, earnings or losing? It's any side.
Yeah. So firstly, I mean, losing is always crazy. So I've been doing a lot of that.
I bet on that.
Yeah, I think you can say that any of my losing trades are crazy trades because I don't like doing that, but it's okay. It's part of the game. But I'll be honest, people usually post 500, 1,000% trades. I very rarely make those type of trades. I very rarely make gains over, 100%. I'm a sort of, because I started trading from an algorithmic background, so I did a lot of algo trading and I had bots. The way that I programmed those bots was that my bots had to basically find a 1% trade in the market and then bag 1% a day. And I would consistently make about 1%, per trade per day. And if you do that 10 times a day, so if you make 10 trades a day, you make 10% a day. And then a month, you make 300%. So the craziest trades for me are the most boring trades, meaning making 2 to 3% every single day or every single trade, and making 4 or 5 trades a day where you make 2%. And then, next thing you know, at the end of the month, you've just made about 200% on your entire trading portfolio. So those are the type of trades that I find crazy. They're boring, but they accumulate. So I like compound interest. So I like that little 1% incremental growth every single day, every single trade, and then that amounts to something so big at the end of the month that you don't even need to, look for those 400%, 600% trades. But I have made some. My latest trade that I think was the highest yielding trade of recent time was when I shorted Bitcoin from about 22,000 all the way down to about 18,900 or something, and I made close to 400% on that trade. So that was a very good trade. But my craziest trades are the most boring trades. I look for 2 to 3% trades, and then I close it. Then I open another one, look for 2 to 3%, and then I close it. And the compounding on that is crazy. At the end of the month, you look back and you actually see the progress. It's nuts how much you can compound. So for me, those are the craziest trades, and obviously my losses, which I have a lot of.
Shamsi, you are another level beast. I mean, you are accumulating like crazy. For that, you need such a high level of the concentration, taking over of your emotions, gathering all of those percentages. And all the newbies that are coming inside, they don't want to pay out until they get, 300%, 500%. And professional guy says he's catching 2 to 5%. So that's something to think about. Why are you here? What are you doing? What do you want? And the thing is, once when your portfolio is on zero, it's game over. So
yeah, and I mean, I do regularly make about 15 to 20% trades, don't get me wrong, but my focus is, so I play a stop loss game. As soon as I've bagged what I need to bag for the day, then I just keep moving my stop losses until my stop loss is in profit, and then I can, keep moving it until, basically use a trailing stop loss. And, if you plan to make about 3% today and you end up making 17%, then that's a good day's work. You're basically free for the next 6 days if you want. So it's a different type of trading. It's not very conventional in crypto markets. People usually go for the big juicy gains, and so do I, but for the most part I'm very patient, very calculated with the way that I trade, because to me the number one thing for me is my capital. Even if I can make 300% today, I don't want to be the guy who's showing off on Twitter, because showing off on Twitter doesn't get me money. Actually taking profits is what gets me money. So people focus so much on being the one guy who longed from 17K all the way up to 24K and closed exactly at the top of 24K just because they want that bragging right. I don't want any bragging rights. I just want the money. So I see profits, I take it. I have a very, very simple philosophy. Buy in the red, sell in the green. And that's exactly what I do. It's simple as that. I see green, I sell it. I see red candles, I buy. And, it can be as simple as that.
Yeah, really. I'm just completely another type of a investor from you. I'm looking mid to long term game. And I'm really catching those 10x, 30x. But for such gains, guys, you need months, not days, you need months. If I buy Ethereum on $500, I'm not expecting to see it at 4,000 in 2 months. I know it's going to take 12 months at least. So that's the game that I play. And also I have maybe 10% of my portfolio in a trading account where I make some kind of a small trades just to get familiar with the market, what's happening, and then put your profits into your stables or into your holding portfolio.
Yeah, that's completely right. And that's the right way to invest. And again, you have, this is something that I also always say, is you have to know who you are in the market. Are you an investor or are you a trader? If you're an investor, then you can't be impatient. You can't be worried about small little downtrends or small little uptrends, because that's not your game. Your game is in the yearly time frame. But if you're a trader, say if you're a swing trader, maybe your time frames are on the daily or on the weekly. If you are a day trader who's scalping, your time frames are anywhere from 15 minutes to 4 hours. So, you have to identify what you are doing in the market and then act accordingly. And one good thing about you is that you've always told me that you're an investor and you look for the long term. And to be honest, that's the best way to make money in this market. As much as I love trading, as much as I, make profits from trading, still, I will say some of the most killer gains that I've made in this market is by buying and forgetting about it for the next 2 years, 18 months. And then the gains just compound like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, really, really. As said, if you really want to trade, some of our community members right now, take a 5% of your portfolio and trade. And when you see it's going good, then you don't need to take another 20% of your portfolio. If you are good, you're going to make from this 5% 20% of portfolio. That's the thing. And leave it there.
Yeah,
Grow your portfolio through trading if you believe in yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
I must say, I wasn't trading for a couple of months, but I have shorted Matic. I want to see your opinion on that. I shorted Matic on 88 cents before a couple of days. It wasn't too much. I mean, I'm now maybe $100 in profit. It was just for fun to see, am I still fit for the market? What do you think about this trade?
Yeah. So I mean, I covered Matic in the charts as well, but $88 is a very nice entry. I was thinking of catching about $1, but I don't think Matic hit $1 on Bybit, which would have been a crazy entry. But with the 88 cents entry, my next target for Matic, if it goes down, because Matic has been pulling lower highs and lower lows, so for me that is a bit bearish. So you can hold it all the way down to about 0.7 to 0.68 cents. So that is about a 24 to 25% move on spot, which is very, very good.
That's great. I will be happy with that. More than happy. I said it's all about making the small sums of money and then invest when everything is down. These maybe if Matic goes to 70 cents, I'm gonna get my $300 out of it and then buy DOT on $4 or $5, or I'm gonna buy Matic on spot or something like, and put it in my HODL portfolio.
Yeah, which in the next 2-3 years, Matic is going to do well because they just signed a deal with Disney. So, if there's big companies like that putting their money behind Matic, then you know that the company is going to do well. Plus, it's a solid player in the game. Polygon has been here for such a long time, and they solve a lot of issues in the industry. So, that's what you do. If you really want to trade, then you make your trades, take your profits, and then put your money back into the HODL portfolio and let it grow over time. That's exactly how you're supposed to do it.
Great, Shamsi. It was a really nice talk with you today. If you want to have to give some advices to our community, because we were advising them right now about lots of things. If you want to say something else now at the end, or any crazy 100x's.
You won't be seeing any crazy 100x's from my side, but the one advice that I would give everybody who's trading is that you need to master the detachment of emotion from your trading. And I'm no expert in that. I'm still trying to master it. But the moment you stop thinking about money as money and think of it as a tool to bring you more money, or just for it to help you build your house, then you're going to be able to function properly. Because when you lose $1,000, you're not supposed to think, oh man, I could have bought an iPhone with that $1,000. You're supposed to think, why did I lose $1,000? It's not about losing that $1,000. It's about losing that 7% on the trade that you miscalculated, that you didn't have a stop loss in, that you FOMO'd into an entry. So those are things that you need to look at. Risk management is very important. Ego is something that you have to eliminate, and confirmation bias, which is something not a lot of people talk about. Often what traders do is they think the market's going down, so they have that in mind when they do their technical analysis. But you can't do that. You have to be completely neutral when you're doing your analysis and play the game of probability. And if you do that, then you're going to win. And, have patience. And to everybody who's not into trading and who's into crypto in general, network as much as you can. I'll tell you the one thing that's helped me the most in the last 7 months after being full-time in crypto has been networking. Like, I've been speaking to owners of multi-million-dollar projects, people that have generated over $100 million in value in the industry. And, it's just a matter of networking. Speaking to people like Benny, who speak to 5-6 people every single day. Just interacting with people, helping people as much as you can. Because I'll be honest, it's the bear market, and every single person who's still around is a serious player in the industry. So you don't want to lose these people when the bull market comes, because they're going to be doing great things. Everybody who's putting their head down now is serious about this and is already a winner in my eyes. So network as much as you can, practice patience, and just work hard. That's what I have to say.
Great, Shamsi. Thank you very much for all of these nice advices. And for all of you guys watching, subscribe to Sky Multi-Asset Finance. We also drop a link to Shamsi's Twitter account if you want to get some highly valuable informations. No shilling, no any crazy stuff, just pure alpha informations. Click on that subscribe button. Follow us. Thank you, Shamsi, one more time, and see you next time.
Thanks so much, Benny.
Bye.